everybody.
Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
That was a process, but I think we're all here.
I'm glad. Hello,
All right.
everyone. Welcome to Course Conversation, a series of live interviews hosted by local Corps members about issues that matter to young people in California. My name is Tekka, and I'm a recycling specialist at GVCC in Stockton, and I'm happy to be your host for today's interview. We're excited to welcome our special guest for today's Course Conversation, California State Senator Susan Eggman. Welcome, Senator, and thank you so much for having the time to be with us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
We'd also would like to welcome our live audience to ask questions in the chat box below. Our interview team today includes Corps members from Greater Valley Conservation Corps in Stockton and Sacramento Regional Conservation Corps. I'd like to invite each of my teammates to introduce themselves, starting with Anthony.
Hello, my name is Anthony Williams, and I'm a Corps member at Greater Valley Conservation Corps.
Andre. Sam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Sam Soltano, and I am a driver at the Sacramento Regional Conservation Corps.
Thank you so much, everyone. I'll turn this over to Sam now.
Thank you, Tekka, and good afternoon, Senator.
Good afternoon.
To get started, we'd like to learn a little bit about more about you and your story. We read in your bio that you were a social worker before getting into politics. What inspired you to become a social worker and then a politician?
Hopefully what inspires you guys to be in the Corps, right? Wanting to be a part of something greater than yourself took me into the military. And then when I got out of the military, I knew I wanted to work with people, and I like to work in a collaborative setting. I think we all just make each other better if we're engaging in something together. And so I first got my degree in psychology, and I worked in the addictions field, mental health, and then I got my MSW and then eventually my PhD. And then going into politics, so I still feel like I'm just a social worker at doing politics. And in my office, including me, I have 5 master social work legislative staff. So we just feel like we're still doing social work, but we're doing it at a policy level, because in working with people as a social worker, I mean, you can only talk to people about how they feel about their issues so much if you haven't created a policy environment in which everybody has the opportunity to rise to their full potential. So being able to pass laws like the one I was able to help with the Conservation Corps, creating a whole new forestry path, that is like helping people realize dreams and creating a process for that. Something I couldn't do just as an individual social worker.
Thank you, Senator. We'd like to ask you about the Forestry Corps. You co-authored AB 2126, which established the Forestry Corps in 2018 as a part of the program. I myself participated in tree cutting and training, which I found really interesting. We want more opportunities to do these kinds of projects and trainings. Are there other opportunities to enhance this type of program for all the local conservation corps?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a bill this year to expand it, but certainly we know we're heading into another drought right now. So the work of the Forestry Corps, I think, becomes even more important. And we know we have forest fires all over the state now. There's no part in the state that is immune to it. So I think it's certainly, I mean, it has worked. It's a natural evolution. So I can't make any promises today, but it's certainly something we're interested in pursuing. And we also know that there's we're the Senate and the Assembly are currently working on a big resilience bond, and there'll be money in there for that. And it'll be announced shortly. There's always, you have to get agreement between the Senate and the Assembly and the administration, the governor, but on a big wildfire package and how we're going to kind of address that going forward. So be prepared for more news to be coming out. So you get a little teaser right here, more news to be coming out about the ideas to be able to help prevent wildfire. And the work that you guys do is vitally important to it.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator. My job at GVCC is to help with waste disposal. So much of the waste that we pick up is plastic, which doesn't biodegrade. It's really upsetting. People talk really badly about Stockton, and we work so hard, and it feels as if it's for nothing. When I was a kid, I used to come to Stockton on the weekends, and I used to have so many good memories. But now, since I've moved here a few years ago, it's gotten very, very bad. Oh boy. The majority of the dumping is done by residents, but people think it comes from the homeless. The dumping happens from residents because they can't afford the payments for the waste disposal or things like that, and they see us pick up the waste every weekend or every so often, so they just continue to dump. And we're practically their personal trash service. What resources do you know of or could be made available for people to get rid of their waste responsibly?
You have identified, I think, is going to be the question of the next couple generations, because we are drowning in our trash. It's not the fancy issue to work on, but it is, as you say, it is everywhere. And because now China doesn't want our trash anymore, our trash is too dirty. China is doing well. It is becoming more difficult, and for folks who I live in Stockton, and we just all got something. I said we have to start doing a better job at recycling because people are mixing too many things, and partly I think it's the industry that has created a lot of confusion about what is recyclable and what is not recyclable. People do a lot of what they call like wish cycling. You wish this is going to get recycled, and so you put it in the bin. But the issue you're talking about, I think, has to do more with poverty. And more with just resources for people. So it is a complicated issue. One, like what is the end goal of our waste stream? I have long been an advocate of how do we turn waste into more jobs? How do we create more manufacturing out of disposed products? So some of that's going to be about labeling. It's going to be about getting rid of or doing things differently about single packaging, right? There's just so much packaging that. And during the pandemic, I think we all did a really good job of getting away from single-use packaging. The pandemic, we went dashing back towards it for safety's sake. So there are a lot of bills working through the legislature. There are a lot of people interested in working in this space. But some of the issues that you're talking about are just about, I think, poverty and people's understanding about. I don't know if you've ever gone to the MRFs and look, but if you go into communities that have more money, their trash is cleaner. Their recycling is cleaner. Sometimes in areas with high poverty, people just putting whatever will fit in whichever can. It doesn't really matter which color it is. So we'd have to do a lot more for curbside recycling on education. I think also maybe looking at some kind of sliding scale or more dump days, because I know they'll have like days that you can go and just dump your things off. But the dumping remains a huge issue in towns and in the country. One of the things that I would just suggest, though, would people like to talk down on Stockton, but we're a great city that has issues like anybody else. I was in Portland a couple of weeks ago, and they have the exact same issues, right? And everybody talks about Portland like it's the greatest place to live, right? But they have the same issues we do, and it has to do, I think, with issues around poverty, issues around, like you said, about homelessness. But then just our whole waste stream. So there's a lot of legislation working in the space. Very complicated answer for kind of a simple question. But don't talk bad about Stockton. Have other people talk good about it. Have them come out and help you. And the more we're all engaged in making things better, the more that somebody say, "Hey, don't do that. That's not cool here." Or do you have this resource over here? So part of it's just all of us keep working together and understanding what a big and complex problem it is, and the long-term effects it has on our health as well as our environment.
Thank you, Senator.
Sorry. Thank you, Senator. As I said before, I live close to the American River. As it gets colder, homeless people are looking to burn wood to keep warm. Where I live, it is a big problem. There are a lot of homeless camps by the river. I have a friend who was attacked by a dog from a homeless camp. How can we help the homeless in our community get back on their feet and to better places than the American River? And how can we make it safer for the homeless and for those around the homeless camps?
Yep. Another huge issue that we continue to work on. And there has been billions of dollars that have gone in. And so hopefully we're beginning to see things look a little bit better. There has been a lot of money that's gone into things like Operation Homekeep, converting hotels, and more of that is coming. I'm a co-author on a bill. So one of the huge issues is housing and the cost of housing. Poverty is the highest in California because our cost of living is so very high, right? I mean, it is very expensive to buy a home. It is very expensive to rent a place, and the first and last So the Senate is working on a plan to be able to help people get into housing and then stay in housing. So again, you'll see plans will become rolling out. I'm a co-author on a bill right now with Senator Ana Caballero, who represents further down in the valley and over into Salinas, but to be able to convert, that's a key piece of the Senate housing package, to be able to convert some of these office buildings, strip malls into housing. So then you're not having to build out farmland, but it's already right there in towns on public transportation routes. So I think increasing the amount of housing we have. I was a little bit late. I was rushing back from Sacramento. I presented 2 bills in committee dealing with homelessness, not homelessness, but mental health issues for some of our people who live on the streets who suffer from severe and persistent mental health issues. So as a social worker, that is been an area I've really working on this year. And I'm chairing the budget on health and human services. So we're always looking for avenues to be able to help. But it's going to be increasing housing, increasing opportunities for housing across the spectrum, and then provided that supportive wraparound services for people coming off homelessness, and then being able to really hopefully deal with those who suffer from persistent and severe mental health issues who are also find themselves homeless and with comorbidity of addiction sometimes.
Thank you, Senator.
There has been a I relate it to like the forest, right? It used to be before any of you were born. We used to clear cut forests, cut down old beautiful growth trees, and then people were like, "Hey, that's not right." So then we went clear to the other side when we didn't take care of our forests because we thought, let's just let it be natural. We did the same thing with people with mental health issues, right? We used to lock people up for a long time against their will just because we didn't like what they looked like, who they loved, how they behaved. And then we thought, that's not a good idea. But then we went clear to the other side, just like we did with the forest. And then we're like, oh, we don't want to do anything. We got to get back in the middle on both of those things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Senator. As a society, we view homeless people as less than human because it's unsightly. I take it personally because I've been homeless before. My best friend has been homeless before. My family has experienced homelessness. And it's a really touchy subject. There have been times in my life where I was living with my father and we had to stay in hotels, or even my best friend experienced homelessness because her mom got evicted after the rent spike because they couldn't afford it. And even during COVID, homelessness has affected so many more people because they lose their jobs and everything. And when we think of homeless people, we think of them as drug addicts or people with mental health issues, and it's scary. But the reality is that there are so many families and young people and even children that experience homelessness. When we do cleanups in the city, sometimes we clean under bridges, and under those bridges we see setups that people have made for their children, and they try so hard to make it comfortable for them. And it's really upsetting because sometimes we'll find like children's toys or little like memorabilia, like family pictures and things like that, because they only get 72 hours to clear out from the area. So I guess my question is, how do we change society's view on homeless people? And how can we, well, you already answered this, but how can we decrease it?
Yeah, and I think what we talked about in the last question, right? It is that small population who are mentally ill and living on the streets, but those are the ones who are oftentimes most visible to us, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the ones on corners, those are the ones under the bridges. But like you've said, there are so many families who are just living on the edge, or are couch surfing, or are in somebody's garage, or in a trailer. But that instability for kids, for families, is incredibly detrimental. So I don't know that we need to change people's views of homelessness. I think we just need to provide more homes and more stability for families. I think it's unacceptable that we have so many people who don't have a place to live in the fifth largest economy in the world. I mean, it is morally wrong. And so I am sorry that you have experienced that, you and your family. And I know so many do, and it's through no fault of your own. And so I certainly hope that people know about the resources, like there is rent relief right now, and you cannot be evicted right now, there is relief that is available through the state and through the county and the city here in Stockton, and that's pretty consistent across. But it takes time to figure out those avenues too. So any way my office can ever help. So as your assembly member, as your senator too, we have staff who are in the district who take calls all the time, EDD calls, housing calls. So if you know people who are suffering, have them reach out to their elected officials as well, so we can help provide resources or just understand what you're going through. Because sometimes just hearing stories help us think of different ways that we can make laws better and make programs better to be able to help people. So your stories are powerful. Keep telling them. That changes people's perception, and I think
Thank
creates
you.
more urgency that we need to do something.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator, we really appreciate all you've done to create the solar multi-family affordable housing program, which helps bring down electricity costs for low-income families in the climate change. Where is the money for this program coming from our taxes, or will our taxes be increased to pay for this program?
No, this is a set aside that is already there for low income people to be able to pay help with power. So the program is already established. We're taking part of the money from that program that's already established into the $1 billion for low income housing, have multi units, to have solar on top, and that way the savings go directly into the tenant's pocket, not the landlord's pocket, but the tenant's pocket. So that's what we're trying to create, right? The program that would have been there for your regular PG&E is now there to be able to help you get solar. You understand the benefits of it, and you can definitely feel it in your pocketbook. So taxes will not be raised. And that program is just coming online. You write a law, then it takes years to establish the regulations, and then they'll start rolling it out.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay.
Is he asking me a question? I can't hear him. Can you guys hear me?
It looks like we're having some technical difficulties.
Okay.
All right. On three, I'll ask the question.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Senator, you spent time in the military, and Anthony's grandfather is a vet, and we are talking, and they were talking the other day about how lots of people coming out of the military don't know what to do. They end up homeless, or don't really know what to do except shoot a gun. A lot of vets don't go to the vet assistance places because they don't have they have too much pride to ask for help. How can veterans experience and training help them when they are out of the military?
Well, and I guess it depends on what they were trained to do in the military, right? So in the military, I was trained as a medic. So when I got out, I stayed in medicine, social work, but on people's heads and emotions more than their physical body. So I was lucky able to translate mine, into work and into a passion. So, like I said, there are different, I call them MOSs, and I have other friends who have made a career out of what they've done in the military. But I also understand people come out, especially those who've seen combat, sometimes come out with PTSD or come out with some head injuries, and then don't quite get their footing, and have become and you can also be excused from the military for issues around addiction, which is unfortunate, because oftentimes issues around PTSD lead to people to be able to use drugs and alcohol that can have untoward consequences. So I understand people don't always reach out, but help is available. That's a federal program. We do have HealthVet in California, and we try to do a lot for vets in hiring preferences. I did a bill my first year in increasing hiring preferences for veterans. So, but part of it's just having the strength and understanding that it's not it takes a strong person to reach out for help. right? It takes a strong person to reach out for help. So to call upon that discipline and that understanding that they were in the military and helping others, and now it's okay for them to get help too. But I think the more outreach that we can do is always better.
Thank you, Senator. When ROTC programs and similar programs try to get kids into the military, they normally target lower income areas or more saturated like youth of color areas. And they go into the school saying that we'll pay for your college, we'll pay for your tuition, and so many other benefits. But the reality is that you have to be in the military for a long time to access these benefits. And the military does have good experiences, but it can also be very traumatic. So my question is, how do you feel about the military's recruitment approach?
Well, again, that is a federal issue and a school board issue, because school boards can decide not to have ROTC or not to have recruiters on campus. Some school districts have decided that. How do I feel about people recruiting on campus? I mean, I think people need to have all the information. You're right. Some people
Should I stay
will
or?
go in. I guess. I mean, it is again. It is an issue around poverty and scarcity of resources, and I think the more we do to increase people's opportunities. I made another pitch today for a CSU Stanislaus or CSU Stockton. We're the largest city in the state of California without one, right? And we have a high degree of poverty, people of color. So we have 4 prisons. Why can't we have a university? So I've been knocking on that door since my time in elected office, and I'm making another pitch right now when we have more money than we're probably ever going to have again. But I think the more we can increase opportunities and the more that we can provide benefits for people, then the military shouldn't just be somebody's last option, right? It shouldn't be the last hope. It's just you usually go in because you feel like it's providing something for you, or you want to be a part of what it's about. But it shouldn't just be, oh, I'm going to go in because I've got nothing else to do.
My follow-up question is, did the military service help you move forward in life?
I think it helped me be able to work collaboratively with people different from me, people like me, right? You know, you're 18, you're swept away and being on a different coast with, you know, people you've never met before who come from all over the country. That was good for me. That was good. And just being able to, you know, feel very comfortable with anybody, anywhere. I didn't have a lot of good internal discipline. And that it certainly helped me with that. And that has helped me going forward in life. So it taught me skills and tools that I have continued to use. And I also met some of my best friends, right? You have these young experiences as young people, their developmental formative years. I'm not on a computer, I'm on my phone, and I'm not sweeping away, but I keep getting texts from people I serve with that are still my friends. And I just turned 60, right? So that was a long time ago. But you know, people who that I met then and I'm friends with now. So I think that's one of the things that it provided for me too, is long-term relationships, friendships, discipline.
Thank you. Anthony?
Senator, I'd like to talk to you about gun control. There's been a lot of gun control, gun policy.
Okay.
Senator, I'd like to talk to you about gun control. There's been a lot of shootings in Sacramento, all over the country. Actually, I see people getting the mindset they need to protect themselves. They rather do the shooting than get shot. Sorry about that. 12 to 13-year-olds can easily get a gun, which only sets themselves up for failure, as they get shot dead or end up in life in prison. My question is, what are your thoughts on current gun policies? What can be done to acknowledge the need for additional safety measures?
Well, California has the most strict gun laws in the country. We do background checks. We have banned assault weapons. We now you need a permit now to even buy ammunition. So we have gone at it multiple ways. But if the rest of the country doesn't do good gun policy, then we continue to have a lot of guns, right? Because that 12 or 13-year-old is not going to the store to buy that gun. They're not getting it from man. They're not getting a background check. They're not, right? They are just,
Right.
they're getting it from somebody because there's so many guns on the street. So I hope in this new administration that they do some federal gun policy, just some basic things, so we can get beyond some of that. But there are too many guns. There are too many guns. Again, as somebody who served in the military, there are too many guns, and people use them. We need federal gun policy. I'm always open to what else we can do in California. Like I said, we have more regulation in California than any other state. But there are too many guns in America, right? I mean, we are the only one of the world powers who has this amount of guns, and yet we have more deaths, more homicides, right? So it certainly doesn't make anybody safer. It just makes a more dangerous place.
Thank you, Senator.
One approach to gun violence is to have more police officers in schools, but evidence shows that police in schools target Black and Hispanic kids. I read an article about an 8-year-old who was recently arrested in a way that was traumatizing. How do you feel about the presence of law enforcement in schools?
This is kind of a mixed bag for me. So as a social worker, right, I think we should be embedded in all police departments. I think there should be, I think it's okay. And I did a law last year when everyone was calling for defund the police and hire social workers. I was concerned that law enforcement departments were just going to continue to have the same supervision without you just kind of call people social workers, but not having the proper training. So we did a law that says whoever supervises your new people who are going to be now embedded in police departments should have a clinical license. Will have a clinical license. So we figured that would be a way, not telling people who they have to hire to actually do the outreach, but who they have to hire to supervise those people, so that they would be able to provide that. So I think some of the school, because Stockton Unified has one, and and it is. I know one of the officers well, and he was. And he talks about it. He was there for the Cleveland school shooting, right? So he has a big heart for kids. He has a big heart for the violence that can occur, and wanting to keep kids safe, right? So I think some officers have a great relationship, and it's and also, hopefully, it's a good relationship. Then it's also a chance for kids who might otherwise be afraid of police or have bad experiences to be able to have a positive experience. That said, I always just think it's better, that schools wouldn't have to be places of danger that we would have to have police, right? That's kind of the bigger issue right there. Not who's there keeping us safe, but that you have to even be concerned about issues around safety, the issues around school. I always think so, and every year, and I'm chairing the budget subcommittee right now on health and human services, and trying to get more social workers and mental health experts into schools. Primary schools is one of my big focuses, because we know you can identify issues early there. You can identify issues with families there right now, and kind of reviewing our budget. It's really interesting to me. Cal Fresh numbers are down, right? Food stamps. Cal Works numbers are down. People getting aid. Our food bank numbers are really high. So somehow people are not signing up for programs, but still finding themselves with a lot of poverty. And with the pandemic, all this homeschooling going on, right? So I worry about these 3 million kids. We're not quite sure where they are. They've fallen off a little bit. So I think we just need way more mental health and community support in school systems. That's what I think.
Senator, over the years, since I was a kid, I've seen a lot of the same things happening. Like a lot of homelessness has been rising, and housing is a big part of that. And I've seen that as an adult today. What will it take to really change the way Sacramento is? Do we have your dedication, and what can we do as a community to help?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're working on stuff on increasing to be able to more easily do housing with the old strip malls, with office buildings, I've got a bill to do it with hotels and motels. But we know with this big budget surplus we're going to have, hopefully we're going to be building a lot more new houses. The issues around the NIMBYism, right? People who don't want affordable housing in their backyards, but we're really trying to make a push for more ADUs or accessory dwelling units, little houses in people's backyards. Helps people, be able to stay in their home because they have now a rent stream coming in, and just increases the amount of homes we have. Because we know building new construction is really, 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 really expensive. I was on a call with some folks from Zillow, and they were saying that if they did more duplexes or little ADUs in LA, we could have like 6 million more homes just that quick. So we're working towards things like that. We've tried to make more bills about that you can't just develop single family home, just big expanses of nothing but single family homes. That there should be some duplexes, there should be some fourplexes mixed in there. I was just reading something today. I don't know if you see them like this, like an old school around little houses, but they're around a court, not like a courtyard, but just finding more creative ways. I think going back to some of the ways we used to build has a lot of value until we all just went. Again, it's like mental health and forest fires, right? We do something well, and then we're like, whoa, let's all get a big house with a garage, and then we change policies that said every house has to have so many parking spaces. That also really, just really decreases the ability to build. So we need more streamlined to be able to more easily build. Our nonprofit home builders need more, and we need more market rate housing. So it's across the board. People know it. We are working on it, but oftentimes you still get neighborhood groups. And then you might get your friends like the Sierra Club, or like, no, we don't want you to build there. Or you might get people like the building trades, like, no, we want this, and we want skilled and trained, and we want this part. So there's sometimes it is a lot of negotiating. It seems like it would be easy. But it is not always easy. It is not always easy.
A little while ago, you authored a bill to establish the National Guard Challenge Academy at French Camp. We'd like to thank you for that. We'd also like to tell you how being a local Corps member has affected us personally.
Yeah, my experience with the GVCC has been very positive and beneficial. It's raised my awareness to the problems around us in our society, and it's given me ways to fix them. It's given me leadership skills and ways to help it's given me ways to help me with my anxiety. And now I'm really used to taking charge and speaking up and being the lead. I'm really grateful for this program, and I'd love other people to see the opportunities that this program can give them. Sam?
And my time at the SRCC has given me a lot of experience for later jobs in my life. For example, leadership skills and credentials, which are helping me to get closer to my dream of being a park ranger. And Anthony?
To being a what? What's your dream?
A park ranger, excuse me.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam. My corps service at GVCC has helped expand my career and education opportunities. Working at GVCC, we have the opportunity to participate in AmeriCorps class, which provides college scholarships. Right now, I'm in an irrigation class at South King Delta College. So I'll be able to expand my knowings on recycling, beyond recycling. I'm doing things a few years back that I thought never was possible. I'm so happy helping my community and our environment. Senator, there are 2 local corps in your district and hundreds of young people every year, still corps struggling to get funding. The demand is greater than we have capacity to serve. How have the local corps inspired you, and how can you help ensure that local corps can continue to serve young people in their communities and our environment for years to come?
Well, this conversation has inspired me. Anytime I meet with young people who are doing great things, I am inspired, and I am inspired to help more. So yeah, I authored the bill for the Challenge Academy, which is one of the best things I will ever do. Being able to author the forestry and helping the expand. It's one of the best things I'll ever do, because anytime you can touch other people's lives and help people realize their own dreams, that's good work. So I commit. I'm raising my hand. Commit to continue to push for more funding for you guys, to provide more opportunities, and to provide even opportunities on the other side, right? Like when you move on, that you take those opportunities into something that you can continue to build, and find your own dreams and those leaderships. I'm proud of all of you.
Thank you. We're happy to announce our next core conversation will take place Wednesday, April 14th at 12 p.m. A conversation about serving in the front line during the pandemic, featuring core members from Long Beach, Sequoia, and San Jose. We'll be hosting 3 more course conversations this spring and summer, so stay tuned. And if you like what you heard today, want to get involved, California's local cores are hiring, so check out mylocalcores.org to find your local cores and contact us. Thank you so much, Senator Eggman. Is there anything you'd like to add before we close?
To keep on doing this great work, you guys. You're inspiring and asking good tough questions. I like it.
Thank you again, Senator. We also want to thank CALC, the California Association for Local Conservation Corps, and A Story for All for spearheading these interviews. And we thank Cal Humanities for their generous funding to supporting the local course conversations and youth voices. Stay safe and see you all April 14th.